Good afternoon, Florida. This is Jamecia Stoudemire, and you are watching Entertainment Buzz. And I am all the way in Los Angeles, California. So I went to LA. Good morning. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. We have an amazing interview set up for you with the amazing Kevin McCall. So let's see if we can get him on the line here soon. Hey,
Hey,
Kevin, how you doing?
good morning. Good morning.
Good. Oh yeah, because you're in LA as well. Good morning.
Yeah, you,
You
you
first.
got me. I got a reason to be up this morning. Yeah, it's that California heat. It's messing up everything. We lost you. I can't even hear you. Let's see. I'm gonna. Oh, okay. I'll give it up for the DJ right now. I'm really excited about this interview. I had nerves all night waiting for this interview, so this should be interesting. This should be a good one.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. I apologize about that, Kevin. My Wi-Fi seemed to dip out on me. I apologize. All right, so let's get this entertainment buzz restarted. We have the beautiful and the handsome Kevin McCall with us. So, Kevin, we know you for your singing, your songwriting, your producing, as well as being a father. Let's get started with these questions. So, number one that I have, is it true that you first got started in music from a young age and you sang in the church choir?
Yeah, but to make it exact, the church choir was a lot later in my life, like 13 years old, where I actually really got my own faith with God, learned them on my own. But I really started as young as like 5 years old. My uncle used to sing in an oldies group called Bloodstone, and they used to sing a song called "Take to the Sky" on the Natural High. The real classic R&B stuff. So I was raised on that as well and seeing that. So they gave me my start too.
Who, if I may ask, like who in your family like introduced at that age of 5? How did that, was it just singing Michael Jackson or what kind of spurred that?
It was my uncle Ronnie. Rest in peace. He died this year. It
Oh,
wasn't due to
sorry about
COVID,
that.
just
Oh,
complications. And I'm still dealing with it. I haven't really dealt with it, and I'm going to use my music to really highlight what he taught me because from him coming from that old school music, you remember that was the music that was the soundtrack to our life. It kind of was the glue to keeping Black families together, and
exactly.
it's that true love. We kind of strayed away from that in music today. So I'm lucky that someone from that time period was able to give me my beginnings. I remember being about 5 years old, and he had me come back there, and he had his home studio built.
Mhm.
So he'll have me come and do music with him, and that was my first time hearing my voice on the record. As young as like 6 years old, so I knew that I wanted.
Whoa.
I was also. It also showed you the power of being self-sufficient because this man was writing his own records, producing them, and recording himself. So you see, I get a lot of that from him.
That okay. Well, again, our condolences for the recent passing of your uncle. But that's amazing to have someone in your life um that kind of got was there to guide you, and especially to have him for so long. That's an amazing thing. Um, you said that the choir didn't really take place until kind of later in your life. Kind of if we jump kind of to that, how did that when I guess did you kind of join the choir in your life, and how did that influence, I would say, your career moving forward, besides
Right.
your as well as your uncle running?
I was a real shy kid growing up, like extremely shy.
Nah.
Yeah, believe it or not, a lot of people believe like I'm some attention or I just, I'm a courageous guy, but I'm really shy. And
Mhm.
I really couldn't stand it because everyone in my family is talented, from the babies all the way up to my grandmother. So talent shows and stuff come around, you kind of get tired of being the person left out. So you say, I remember the first day I actually sang in front of my family. It was me and two of my other cousins, and everybody was doing the talent show. All the older kids was like, let's show them what we could do. We all got in there. We came up with a song, and we came and performed it for everybody. It was really great. It was really exciting. And moving forward into the church gave me that consistency, and church gave me singing with feeling and emotion, because I used to sing at first. Even later in my career, I used to sing for the wrong reasons. I used to sing for attention, like we just said. And singing for church taught me to sing about the emotion, sing from the heart, sing about something that's bigger than you, sing about, sing in a way that's directly talking to people and really touching them, sing about something that can bring people through something.
I
I learned
like
that.
that.
I learned that from
Okay.
church. Yeah, just also the consistency of like having a routine. That's one of the things I'm putting in my life now. When I had that routine, I had football practice at this time, I had school at this time. And then my mom and my father, they were so consistent that they would keep me at all those schedules I had to keep. My
Mhm.
parents helped me keep up with it. And
Yeah.
having that routine and consistently going to choir practice, being with that people, the congregation, and them telling you to do it over and over and over and over, it really developed my ear to understand chords and harmonies.
Mm,
It really opened me up to a lot, but mostly the repetition and the consistency,
gotcha.
and knowing that you represent something bigger than you when you're standing on that stage. You're not representing you, you're representing the kingdom, you're representing our organization, stuff like that.
No, definitely. You had brought up football, just being in the younger part of your career. Well, you played football. Tell us what position you play, when did you start playing football?
Yeah, I've been getting hit on the head since 7 years old. From 7 to 2, I was getting hit on the head. So if I lost a few brain cells or I acted a little crazy in the past, it could be why. Uh, no, my father was a huge football buff. Like
Okay.
anything you need to know about football, he can give it to you. And it's interesting to watch so many other young men that he's developed just like me. So it wasn't just about me being his son. He's developed a lot of young black men in the greater Los Angeles area and gave us skills to just really be a man and to be tough and to not quit and to not make excuses. And I'm really thankful for that, because from 7 years old all the way to 22, it's one of the reasons I have the physique I have. That's a lot of working out,
Thank
a lot
God for sports. Thank
of,
God for sports.
thank God for genetics as well, but it was the work, and my
Yeah.
dad, he loved football so much that we didn't take any breaks. We
Yeah.
didn't take any breaks. In track, I didn't take any breaks. And I felt like I got my second childhood, in the music industry. I went wild a little bit, got my second, because I didn't get to play outside. I
Okay.
worked
Really?
out, and on Saturdays I had track meets and games. So that kept me out of a lot of trouble, and I'm going back to that now. And
Understandable. What's
working out, teaching, stuff like that. So you just don't have a lot of time to forget what you're here for.
And just to clarify to the audience, your dad was a football coach, as beyond a buff as well. I know he like loved it,
Yeah.
but he actually coached. Did he ever coach you or anything while growing up? Or I mean, besides one on one being father son, was he
No, that's
actually
the
like your?
thing. That's the unique thing about my life, and which is so important about my college experience. The important part about my college experience is it's the first time my father couldn't be there by my side to make me do anything. He can
Mm,
inspire me, but he couldn't make me do it. He couldn't be super hands on, and I had to become a man. I had to do all the work and become those. He could only get me so far. And the beauty in that is that I started knowing what I can do, and I started becoming a man. Shout out to my dad, Coach McCall.
Oh, well, amazing. Seems like an amazing king there. So moving on. So describe a little bit of, and going to our current day, how would you kind of describe the style of music that you like to a sing or produce or songwrite as well?
So we got to go back. When I was young, I was doing it for attention. Like I said, I was doing it for the
Hmm.
girls. I used to go around singing Tyrese in high school because,
What song did you used to sing?
I used to just say a girl's name and then I'll say, "You do it for me." I got it from a line on one of his songs. So I'll be like, "To me, still you do it to me. Hey." So whatever girl I liked, I'll see her in the hall. To me, still you do it to me.
Just making them feel special in the hallway, huh?
So special, I was that guy around, just spreading love, spreading smiles, and I'm still that guy today. Um, it was something on my foot, but yeah, what were you saying?
Oh, well, no, just based also, I guess like song wise, like the style of music that either you've, I know you said before, but where you see yourself going now or that you want to move towards.
Yeah, the campaign I'm working on right now, as you may know, because you're a part of it, is make R&B great again. And what that is basically about is I have daughters now, and I don't want them to hear music about the WAP or about scamming or it's just certain things. I want to bring a balance to what's out there. I'm not saying any of that stuff is bad, but I want music out there that's gonna, you know, guide the future generation in a way that it needs to be. And I feel like I feel like R&B music was the glue to that. It was the soundtrack to our lives. And so now my music is real soulful and it's the message in it. It could talk about relatable things, but it still always has a message, that and it's music that could get you through something. How Marvin Gaye
Agreed.
going on, he has sexual healing, but he had what's going on. And I feel like
Mm,
that was more impactful, especially in like the times that we're in now.
agreed. No, definitely having that nice little balance in the
Sometimes people
game.
do kind of.
So you had mentioned when we were talking about you playing football in college, you did study social science with a minor in music and ethics studies at the Washington State University. How would you say since then you have utilized that knowledge, especially on the on the social science side?
For a while, I thought I wasn't using it at all. I was like, I learned about race, class, and gender, and that just like completely changed my world in college because you got to think I'm playing football and I entered these comparative ethnic studies classes where they're teaching me about books like The Bell Curve by Bell Hooks and
Mm,
Black Aesthetics, and then they're teaching me about $40 Million Slave. I forget who wrote that book, but that was the book right there. I'm like $40 Million Slave. It's talking
okay.
about how instead of getting your 40 acres and a mule, we kind of became into the future, with organized sports and stuff where we settled for millions of dollars and becoming performers and entertainers as opposed to seeking
Mm,
education or seeking other things to become stable in society. So that kind of shook me up, and I was like, I don't have to just do football. I don't have to utilize these 5 years to prepare to go to the NFL. I could prepare to enter into the industry, and I used all those years to teach myself piano, teach myself how to make beats, teach myself how to record, and
okay.
a lot of the songs that I made were from that time.
Okay. Well, I'm sure with the influence that you had around you, it helped keep you. I definitely remember growing up and always, you couldn't control the radio as a kid, so R&B was all that was on the radio. I mean, you had your rap, a little bit of rap, but it would always still had that nice little vibe to it.
And also just to finish, like just how race, class, and gender affects me in music now. Going to
Hmm.
Washington State was a culture shock. It's a lot of people who don't
Okay.
look like you and I, but you
Okay.
see that there's great people in every culture. You know,
Agreed.
People hate that whole thing, all lives matter. People hate that saying, but it's true. If you've been in
Mhm.
this type of environment, you love all lives, you know. Um, but you also know, I also learned that you got to highlight certain things, our issues, because they don't know. Our school was
Yeah.
2% black, and
Mm.
most of them were athletes. So um, I
Well,
did a lot of teaching. It was a lot of, hey,
yeah.
can I do your hair? When I had an afro, it was a lot of exchanging of
Um,
ideas. I love that part of it.
where is Washington? I'm sorry. Where is Washington State University located?
Thank you. Because a lot of people think it's in Washington, D.C. Washington State University is in Pullman, Washington, which is about
Okay.
15 minutes from Moscow, Idaho, and it's in the
Oh,
state of.
I did not know. Well, thank you for that. Okay, so because you again, and I know the audience may, if they don't know, you grew up in Los Angeles, California, so that was a big a regional change for you going to college.
Right. Especially the snow. We're tropical people. We don't like all that snow and rain. Luckily, it had all.
Well,
It wasn't like Seattle where it rained every day, every day. I would have
okay.
been.
You would have been sad.
Yeah.
No, I'm being originally from Missouri. We had all four seasons too. So definitely, when you had those snow days, we wanted to stay inside. Alrighty. Okay. So is you're you're a beast on the keyboard, as you said. You are kind of self-taught. Do you play any other instruments by chance?
I played the talk box, which is also um, basically playing off of the synth keyboard. And that's the thing. Like all of my success in my career has been without me really knowing what I was doing. So in the time that I've kind of been silent and figuring out business or not making as much noise as I've been like, you know what? I know too much. Let me just go back to just doing it for the love of it and doing it with a meaning, with a purpose. And everything that I learned, it could be implemented now, but I don't have to know everything. So I'm about to pick up something new. I think I want to
Oh,
learn guitar. Yeah.
guitar. Okay. So that's going to be your new challenge as we continue through this pandemic.
Yes, I think you should always keep learning. And I've
Agreed.
gotten a lot better, even though I had a hiatus. I've gotten a lot better because I studied people like Nipsey, what it takes to make a classic, quality over quantity.
Hmm.
Um, I just been studying and I'm ready to just jump into it. I'm a little scared, y'all, but I think if
Don't
y'all just
be
ride this
scared.
wave with me, even though I'm a little afraid or whatever, you'll see that's what true courage is. It don't mean you're not afraid. It's just that you faced what you're afraid of. And that's how I became a singer anyway, facing my fears.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go a little bit more deeper with Kevin McCall. We're gonna take a short little break and have a commercial for you guys. We'll see you back here soon.
Can we go deep, deep?
All this time we fought side by side. We trained together. We lost together. And now, you're the only one standing in my way. It's been a while, old friend.
Hey, welcome back. This is Jamecia Stoudemire, and today on Entertainment Buzz, we are interviewing singer, songwriter, producer Kevin McCall. Welcome back, guys, or welcome back, Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you.
So again, guys, we are doing this amazing interview with singer, songwriter, and producer Kevin McCall, and we were just had finished up talking kind of about his earlier years in college. Um, I wanted to go ahead and move into more so about your talent and your career currently. You're a multi-talented, of course, as we said. You write, you produce, you sing, and you rap. I'm sure you got some other talents too, as we talked about football too. And now you're also acting. Do you have a favorite talent? And if so, um, is there any more that you would like to add to them?
My favorite, actually, it wasn't mentioned. My favorite talent is another one that was started off as a fear. It's public speaking. I love to
Oh,
speak to people, encourage them. I love to use all the ugly things in my life and my past, the things that broke me down at one point, and show how redemption. Show how I overcame that. I think everybody loves a good redemption song, and sometimes when you reveal even the ugliest things about you, you relate to other people and you encourage them, and I like it. It's like therapy.
okay. So it's not even the ones we know you for. So do you with that note being said, do you plan on do you want to do more so like TED, like more like TED Talks and moving in that type of realm and public speaking colleges and so forth?
Yeah, I would like
Yeah.
to speak. I do speaking engagements like that, but my real main focus is I love the children. I want to start a
Okay.
foundation called Listen to the Kids, basically because I believe a lot of adults, we get so caught up into our careers that we forget about the people of the future, and how everything we know is to water that seed so it can grow. So I want to start the foundation Listen to the Kids, and it's about their music, their talents, their ideas, their political views, all of that. And we're just listening to them. We're giving them an outlet to highlight that. It's about
Yeah.
the kids.
That's awesome. I mean, definitely our younger generation has to be, I feel, needs to be nurtured just a little bit better to help them, be better people. I'm sure if even with Instagram, some of these kids doing their own, businesses and YouTubes and things like that. I know um we're similar in age range that there was no YouTube, there was no social media, and those things really didn't exist. Like shoot, I babysat as a kid. That was about the most you could do, but definitely I think feeding our youth is a great thing to continue to be doing. Um, is there, so I know you said that public speaking's your favorite. Maybe what's your second favorite talent?
My second
Or
favorite town.
or the one that you want to
Oh,
perfect more?
I love producing. The
Okay.
reason being, it just comes so naturally, and I got a lot of my encouragement from outside places, and it's still that way. I go off the vibe. I go off the vibe of women, because women make the world go round, believe it or not. They do. If a woman is bobbing her head and she's liking it, you're onto something. So I still, to this day, I'll post a vibe on Instagram, and I go off the vibe I get back. All the people give me a good vibe back, and it lets me know I'm on the right path, and I keep going. Yeah.
Okay. And mute and just to clarify with the audience, it's music production. So and that's when you create the beats and so forth, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also like
Okay.
just developing other people. Like, it's not about me writing a song and performing it. I like to hear someone else's story and help them tell their story. I love that part
Mm.
of it.
That I can agree, from going from the thought to the actual physical, it being physically here and we being able to hear it or see it is like really fun to do, which I know I do more so with events and stuff like that, but
Right. Right.
bringing someone's idea, to birth is an amazing thing to do. Um, saying about that, bringing things to birth, you're actually Grammy nominated, correct?
Yes.
And and you have worked with big artists. Like, what is it like to get to work with artists like Chris Brown, Tiger, Omarion, Rihanna, and Justin Bieber, Tank? I mean, your list of people that you have had the opportunity to be in the room with is extensive. What is that like? And maybe share an experience that was one of your favorites.
It's a blessing to me to see people that close up that you admire and you have all this adoration for, because you get to see that they're just regular people. Um, and then you don't feel so bad for being a regular person. And that allows me to, in my artistry and then just in my calling in general, is to be relatable, you know? remember, be relatable because we're all people. So if I just remember that, then I'll always relate to everybody. Um, Sometimes it was overwhelming. I felt like the Cinderella story because sometimes I'd be around all these stars and on the Grammy carpet, and then I had to go back home to my grandmother's house sleeping with roaches and rats. She don't have
Yeah.
today. So y'all don't be talking about my granny. That's just how it was in the hood. It was hard. And I
Yeah.
would be Chris Brown, Rihanna, all these stars by night, and then by day I had to live my normal life. So that kept me honest. That kept me humble. I never changed. And what I also liked about seeing those people on that level,
Mm-hmm.
I realized it's not an artist. They're actually a company. It's so many moving
Mm.
pieces that make these people successful. And they don't get the credit. And that's not really my main point. My point is you need every piece of the puzzle to make it work. And seeing
Gotcha.
all those people, I seen how many different pieces, the manager, the wardrobe, the writers, and then I just seen it all. So it was a crash course. After I left Washington State, I had a crash course on the industry and music business and artist development, which they don't even have today. So my artist development was kind of working in reverse. What I mean
Mm-hmm.
by that is I got a hit overnight and I
Mm.
had to learn the industry. I grew up. Deuces was my first song, so I grew up in the industry from that point on. And
Got you.
it's a beautiful journey. I
Oh,
wouldn't
so
take.
you went in there with a bang. So definitely starting off with just at a high level of exposure
Yeah,
with that song. So I and then you had to
very
learn as
difficult.
you went.
It was
Yeah.
very, yeah, it was very
I
difficult.
mean I could relate personally being from Missouri. My family has more of a military background. So
Mm,
there's no one, in the aspect of you're just learning a new craft or an environment or a world on your own. There's no
yeah,
one necessarily, to that may have experienced at that level to be there to handhold. So it's like you go to uncharted territories all the
right,
time. No,
right.
that is amazing. What is it like being nominated for a Grammy? That is like
It
that's
is
like such a
it's a gift, but it's a curse. For me, it was a
yeah.
curse because
Oh.
I was always trying to go backwards and get that Grammy, like, and it doesn't happen like that. And I even learned how Grammys work. Like, there's a Grammy committee, and I can get on the Grammy committee, and I can get my
Mm,
friend, and I can figure it out that way. So then I started saying, well, it's not about the trophy; it's about the talent. If you keep chasing
mhm,
trophies, you might not never get that. So it's like, what does your talent do for the world?
mhm,
What type of music are you making to become the soundtrack of our lives and our memories?
mm.
You know, like what type of songs are we going to be singing and it's going to make us remember, yep, 2020, coronavirus, this song helped me get through that year.
Right.
Each one of them. So
Why do I just hear Cardi B saying coronavirus?
coronavirus, it's getting real, getting real. Yeah,
Yeah,
gift and
the
the
things
curse
that
though.
the things that we remember. But no, I definitely like Stevie Wonder, like you said, Marvin Gaye, like those type of songs are timeless. And I definitely agree with you. When those songs are created, they live forever. Not, I'm still here. Yay. Amen. Amen. Okay, so going on, how did it feel when you first heard about getting that Grammy nomination or Grammy nod for the song Deuces? Like, where were you? What was that moment like?
It was I have to explain a lot about my personality. Like,
Okay.
I'm kind of like smart, but I'm not. I'm smart in a different way. So in other
Like,
areas, I came slow. Case in point, you ever seen
okay.
Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
Do you remember how he was playing college football, but he didn't know what he was doing? I didn't understand the concept fully of football until my junior year in college. So I've only
Okay.
played football 2 years, fully understanding how it works, because somebody actually sat there and they didn't talk at me, they talked to me, and they knew
Okay.
how I learned. Actually, they didn't just assume my notes, knew things. They went to the basics. They taught me. I was like, oh, I get it now. I was like, dang, I got a college scholarship, this degree, scouts watching me, and I didn't even know how to play the game. So you fast forward to
Mm,
music, same way. I'm around all these execs, but I had natural skills that I developed in church, and just my father making me watch interviews, and I knew how to shake and wiggle. I kind of just knew how to brush shoulders with the right people and be in the right room with the right people when I needed to be there. Um,
mm.
I learned that. I learned that from then. But going
That's
back, going back into the Grammys and all that, and being around Rihanna and Rock Nation and Universal, and this guy runs this label. It was, I didn't know what was going on until
wow.
recently. Until recently, I had to lose everything. I was like, why did I lose everything? I was blaming my manager, you know,
Hmm.
and luckily we didn't fall out or anything. He kind of just left, and I was like, well, he abandoned me because things aren't great.
Hmm.
And it wasn't that. I just realized some people had to get out of my way to let me become as great as I could be. And I wasn't going to be great if I didn't learn, what did I sign? What is my paperwork? What percentages do I get for this? How many points do I get for that?
Yeah.
Who do I need to start calling and make sure I'm on their mind? Because out of sight, out of mind. I
Very
learned
true.
I learned all these things. And I'm grateful for the time I learned it, because I think the time is always now.
And no, I definitely can agree. And at the end of the day, I always like to say like a motto or mantra for myself is there's no losses, just lessons. So at the end
Yeah.
of the day, if we learn from what we went through it, then it can only better us and make us better.
Yeah. And
But
some of the lessons I didn't learn overnight. Some of them I was hard headed. Some of the lessons I took very hard. Like, for example,
mm,
being blackballed, or thinking you're being blackballed, um, and the feeling of not getting what you were what you earned and what you deserved. I got frustrated. I acted crazy because I had never experienced that. I had never even had a job. So to finally get something that you love to do and be able to provide for your family off of it, and then it be
mm,
taken away, it was, whew, it was so
earth
hard.
shattering.
It was hard. And I learned, though. It wasn't an L, it was a lesson. I learned about what I could do. And when you don't play the victim, and you give yourself that self-empowerment back, you really could get through any situation you've ever been through. You can overcome it when you take the accountability for what you've done. So
Hmm.
now I'm looking over my paperwork. I'm learning music business and business management, and I don't blame anyone. And it's like my
Hmm.
career doors have been opening every day. And even though I'm scared, I'm just being real with y'all. Even though I'm
Yeah.
afraid, I think it's the most beautiful thing, because I get to be vulnerable.
Mm, very
I'm just
true. I love it. I'm gonna pause you right there. We're gonna take the audience to a quick commercial break, and then we're gonna come back and talk a little bit more just how this kind of separated from being, in the like a record industry, and then you moving into being independent, and how that's two, and how those worlds compare. So go ahead. Let's head out for this commercial break right now, guys.
I'm not picking it up. You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
Well, somebody's got to pick it up.
I'll pick it up. They're clean. 'Cause my honey's clean. Oh yeah, I'm Charmin clean. That's how I know they're clean.
Charmin Ultra Strong is woven like a washcloth and just cleans better.
Yeah, I'm Charmin
The
clean.
kid does have a
That's
point.
My honey's clean.
Enjoy the go with Charmin. And for an extra clean finish, try Charmin Flushable Wipes.
Hey guys, this is Jamecia Stoudemire, and this is Florida National News Entertainment Buzz, and we have the amazing Kevin McCall. We just kind of wrapped up talking about just well, we're moving into talking about like the end, like being going from being in the like the main record or mainstream record industry and going into independent, being an independent, and just kind of how are those worlds different? Because I know when you came in with Juices you were introduced to it like there was a camp running a lot of different things, and then now like you were saying learning, reading your own contracts, making sure that you are really in tune with everything. How do you see those worlds being different, and maybe any suggestions you have for others that even if you do have a camp, what you should be doing?
Right. Um, I guess the main difference is other people's money, other
Mm,
people's money. So when you're with a major label, they have this huge bank of money just for marketing, just for distribution, just for all these other things. And if you don't have to come out of pocket yourself and do that, it's just a huge, relief. You also have access to every other artist that's on that label. Let's say you're with
mm,
Atlantic, you have access to every artist that's on the Atlantic label. So that's one of the benefits of working with major labels. It's that access to that budget and
right.
the ability to use other people's monies to finance what you're trying to do. That's one of the reasons I love to focus on the production and the writing, because it's not about me performing it at that point. It's about me getting it off to one of these artists at one of these labels, or even an independent artist with a budget, because they are out
Hmm.
there, uh, and making it make sense from there.
Okay. And so now being independent, now being independent and really being your own, your own brand manager, or just in your career, what would you say is more of the I guess, a couple point, like what is the big difference and how you should kind of carry yourself?
I believe any independent company, small business, if you're not running yourself like a Fortune 500 company, you're never going to make it to that point and get that successful if you're not holding those models, if you're not
Mhm,
doing the work,
mhm,
uh, holding those meetings, planning short-term goals and long-term goals. Those are the things that come about in those with those major artists that I try to implement in my own life. A lot of independent artists, I know guys like Russ who are making bank
mhm,
off streaming and just putting out the material. You got guys like Ryan Leslie that are great to learn from. He utilizes his fans not only just he built a technology where he can see where his fans are at, what they do, and he's kind of taking it from a customer just being somebody who spent $1
mhm,
buying the song offline to being a person worth $10,000 because they do so many things that they can add to you outside of just being a consumer. Um, what else about independent and major? Yeah, just that's just the biggest difference. You don't owe anybody. I remember when I signed with them. I signed a production deal actually, but
okay.
I got $50,000. I had to pay that back. So if you're not getting
Okay.
advance from anyone, you don't have to recoup, which is make that money back and pay it back. You know.
Mm. Food for thought for all those aspiring artists out there. Sometimes
Yeah.
those deals just aren't that great when you Okay,
Yeah.
well let's move into kind of the process of you making music. How do you normally produce your music? Do the lyrics come to you first, or is it more of the melody, or how do you kind of get in that creative space?
My style and the way that I create music has changed a lot over the years.
Mhm.
So my music represented that. And then as I got into the industry, demons and stuff, they come around. You have snakes and stuff in the industry who are guys that's somebody who's there to be like a big homie or a big sister or just guiding you. But
Mhm.
they're giving you little things that's making you weaker. So one of the hardest things I ever went through was, losing my friendship with Chris Brown, losing my oldest daughter. She had moved away, and I had been seeing her every day. So then finally, I was like, let me try a shortcut. Started
Okay.
smoking weed. My music changed. My voice changed. Um, in the way that I made music changed. I got cockier. I started, R&B songs. We used to write R&B songs back in the day, and you could tell. But then you fast forward to the time I came out, Lil Wayne was the hottest guy. And he freestyled everything. Jay-Z, right? Freestyles everything. We don't need any paper. So me and Chris Brown and other guys, we started developing a style where we just freestyled the music. One of the songs I freestyled was No BS by Chris Brown.
Okay.
That started off as a freestyle. But look at the content, It's about making love and stuff like that. So fast forward, now I'm like, well, let me go back to the basics. Let me get sober. Let me start back writing these ideas on paper. And after bouts with depression, I felt like I had writer's block. I felt like, well, I don't want to write a song. And then what if it's not a Grammy hit? Well, the first line is not going to be a Grammy hit. You got to start. So as I started going to therapy, I started going to therapy for anger. It really was for anger management, but it started just becoming therapy for healing.
Amen.
And it gave me tools to deal with bouts of depression, to deal with disappointments, things that's going to happen in life. And I got this from, which is supposed to kind of be a punishment, but it's actually healing. And the healing from my anger management, he told me, just write it down, Kevin, just write. You're a writer. That's your job description. That's what everybody knows you for, writing. So if you don't write, you won't feel like you're being you. So I started back writing. I just started back writing my feelings, my emotions. And it's coming out great. It's coming out great. It's better music than I've ever done, because before I wasn't really singing from experience. Even love wasn't about experience. I have 2 daughters now, so I know what love is. I know what love loss is. And I know just the things I've been through, and I wish I had a song to help me get through it. So I'm making them songs now.
Oh, to make sure for others. That's an amazing thing to say, or to hear. We have a quick behind the scenes clip of you working on a song from a women's perspective. Let's take a quick look at that.
First cut is always the deepest. The first cut is always the deepest.
But when you do it, I want the cut to sound like pain. Like when somebody ever cut you, felt like they cut you in your heart.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? The first cut. You know what I mean?
Bleeding. Oh, the first cut. Bleeding. Oh, the first cut is always the deepest.
First cut. Hold it.
First cut.
Yeah.
Bleeding. Oh, the first cut is always the deepest.
2 notes in first. The first cut.
First cut. The first. Like that.
The first cut. And you kind of crescendo on it. The first cut is always the deepest.
Okay. The bleeding. Oh, the first cut is always the deepest. I think I should do it again.
Yeah.
Let me do it again. Can't stop this bleeding. Oh, the first cut is always the deepest. The first cut is always like that.
That's dope. Always the deepest. Say best.
Deepest.
Yeah.
The best. You the best.
Cause you saying deepest.
Okay.
That is amazing. So tell us what it's like being working with a female from a woman's perspective, and how was that experience we got to watch, and other artists that you've gotten to write for?
I love that clip right there. That's one of my favorite clips. That is the great, the wonderful James. And just the interesting fact about Joelle James is one of the people I was teaching her a song there, but she developed her own skills after a while. And she became really good at it. And she ended up writing a song called Boot Up. And a lot of you might know that song is by
LMA?
Boot Up. She ended up,
Yeah.
girl you see in that clip, she ended up writing Boot Up on her own. So she became a writer of her own. And it's just interesting to see people develop and get that, what's the word? Just not encouragement, confidence. She's
Mm-hmm.
so confident now, and she owns it, and she knows who she is. I love seeing people go from who they were to that, kind of becoming, from the caterpillar to the butterfly. I love being a part of that process, or just watching it.
No, and that actually, that kind of like, it's a great, and I think again, it goes back to that, being a part of that birthing of it, because it's like you literally were a part of that journey for her. I
Yeah.
mean, you educated her, and then now she may boot up, so that's definitely that little trickle down, and that's really interesting. Was it okay, when you write from a woman's perspective, like how do you change your mind, because of course you're a man?
Right. What I used to do was I would think about all the things I did wrong, and that's my content. Is what a guy does wrong and what he needs to do right. Like in that song we were writing there, I was like, I'm not washing dishes anymore. I'm not folding your clothes up. Like a girl really told me that. Like, I'm not washing your dishes. I'm not folding your clothes. I'm not doing this no more. Like, so I knew to put that in the song. The other reason was like, since my mom had to be so hands-on with me, she had to work a 9 to 5, and then she had to take me to track practice like 3 times a week, or football practice like 3 times a week, year round, my whole life. So you're in traffic, she's going through what she's going through. It might be relationship things with my father. It's nobody else to talk to. It wasn't no cell phones back then. So, I mean, I know in a therapy chair, you're the one sitting down, but I would be the one laying down because it's like a car. So it's like reverse. I'm the therapist, but I'm laying down. Like, just
Right, you're
listening to
taking the
stuff she's telling me. This intelligent, beautiful Black woman going through the problems that you guys go through, and only outlet she has is her son. This middle school kid. And I used all the things she taught me, even though it might have made me upset at my dad at first, or sometimes I got upset at her. Like, I'm too young to be hearing. I don't want to know this. But you know why she did it? Because she wanted me to be better than my father. And now I know how to think about that. Everything I sing about now is being a better man. It's from the stance of I'm trying to be a better man.
That okay,
Stance of my father.
That no, there definitely was no cell phones back then. You were the talk. They tell you talk to you the whole time. You know what they're talking about half the time.
Right? You can relate. You can relate. Because I
Yeah,
didn't have
yeah.
anybody to talk to.
No, I definitely can relate. Go moving forward in your talk at Chicago State University a few years ago, you shared an experience about people stereotyping you. Can you speak on that for our audience, and maybe how it's impacted you?
I've been stereotyped many different ways. I can't remember what I was saying in the clip, but
Mhm.
one of the things one of the ways I was stereotyped, I would say it's in the reverse. I was stereotyped by people in the hood. When I got successful, I felt like I was getting tested all the time, and I felt like that whole thing of when you get successful, you have to leave the hood, like you can't be in the hood. And I was like, why? I didn't understand. I was like, that's not true. I should be able to be able to go where I'm from and visit my family and just be here and soak it all in and be there for everybody. And it just doesn't work like that, you know. In the Bible, it says a prophet is without honor in his own homeland. Meaning, you know, the people closest to you, they don't necessarily see the light that's on you. They don't necessarily see God has his hand on you and he has a calling for your life. But you have to continue to venture out and use your talent in other places, and that's when everybody gets to see you. I got to a point where I was just too comfortable being in the hood. And one of the stereotypes I remember going through in the industry when I first was trying to bring this whole just positive image to everything, I didn't want to be hypersexualized. I didn't want to talk about gang stuff. And it was like, man, you need to take off your shirt. You need a gold chain. You need to represent the hood. And, you know, I kind of fell into that for a while, you know, and it's like, how do you even think about that? So the music suffered and my lifestyle also suffered because I was kind of trying to be like this Nipsey Hussle guy where you bringing peace amongst people who had a lot of disputes and people who usually rowdy. You putting them in a position to do something positive. You know, me coming from my fraternity, I've seen strong Black men get things done in a peaceful, positive manner and for good. Use that energy for good things. I thought I could make the streets like fraternities, and it backfired on me. I ended up getting shot, just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, not doing what you're supposed to do. So how does that all correlate to everything? Just the stereotype of, if you fall into certain stereotypes, like I was telling a girl the other day, I was like, have you ever experienced people keep saying when you were in high school, some people keep saying, oh, you're a hoe, you're a hoe, you're a hoe, and you're not. And you're like, well, I might as well do it if everybody's gonna spread these rumors. So that's the funny thing about stereotypes. I try to remember, just because people put them on me, I don't have to succumb to them. I don't have to become what they said I am, and I don't have to stay in that box.
Agree. No, I definitely I feel like, especially going with the thing at our current situation with George Floyd and things like, and being African Americans, there's, you know, a lot of people just stereotype. And I think earlier when you were talking about being an artist and, you know, you had went from instant success, people just assumed you were, you know, the perspective of you're a millionaire and, you know, stereotyping you that you're at, then you're like, no, I go back home.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, I definitely think in the industry there's a lot of different stereotypes that they do, but also just in our general world, and we have to us as people have to do better and not boxing people in and allowing them to truly be themselves and to grow in that. We are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go open up with an interview, or come back from that commercial break. We're going to go into a video of an interview of you with Gary Thomas. So let's go ahead and go to that commercial break, guys.
At Taco John's, you can expect one thing: so good. As in quality ingredients used in tacos and burritos made just for you. Every single bite.
So good.
Expect nothing less at Taco John's.
Hey, welcome back, guys. We're going to go straight into this interview clip with Gary Thomas and talk a little bit more about Kevin McCall's acting.
An interview that you want to get into acting.
Yes.
So what's the path gonna be like for that? Are you looking into roles? Are you getting representation?
First thing I need to do is get my discipline together. Like, I need to read scripts. Like, you know what I'm saying? That stuff is not something I think is easy or to just take lightly. Think I'm gonna be good at. I got the natural stuff down, but I want to get with a coach and I want to do my thing.
So that's the next focus right now.
Yeah.
Oscar nomination, maybe. You already got a Grammy nomination.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that because, like, music is, I can't even impress, not like that, I can't impress myself no more. Like, I'm doing, like, hooks every day on Instagram and stuff, and it's like, okay, you know, we get it, you're creative.
So now that you've moved into the acting world, have how has that been, and have you impressed yourself yet?
Well, I'm about to take up a class because I have some natural acting chops, and I feel like it's gonna really be something special there because of all the pain I've had, all the trauma, all the disappointments, and a lot of people have seen these things publicly. I'm gonna be able to tap into some stuff. I'm gonna be able to,
Mm.
you know, associate things with things and bring that character out, and it's gonna be realistic. I think that's one of the great things about what I've gone through, and I'm excited about that. And this class is Tasha. What's her name? Help me out.
Tasha Ward?
Yes, that's her.
No, that's amazing. I am familiar with her being out here in this LA world, but I encourage you definitely. I could see, I definitely, and as some of you don't know, Kevin is a part of one of my company's clients. So I definitely encourage you and definitely see you being able to pull from that. You have a natural ability, and I know you have been in a couple of things, not necessarily maybe the lead, but you have been in a couple of projects, and the light shining on you, King. So I hope we get to see you explore that more as we go into 2020 and 2021. Um, just bringing it, back to present day. What direction are you headed now, and what new projects are you working on?
All right. My main focus is the mental health. I feel like mental health is wealth. And mental health is a lot of stigma behind it, but I believe the maintenance of good health is also a part of mental health. The maintenance of being on the frequency that you need to be on. I'm really focused on that. The way I keep that in check is my diet. And what I mean by what I'm watching and what I'm hearing, and even what I'm talking about, I try to make sure I'm looking at I look at spiritual people like Dr. Miles Monroe, just people who give you principles, because it's
Positive.
like the lack of principles is what made my life kind of become a little rough. But once I start applying principles, it's just nothing nobody could do. You can't stop me. So I'm just
When you know
excited.
thyself, no one else can shake you.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And I know you did recently, and I don't know if you recently dropped a single, Tokyo.
Yes. I recently dropped a single, Tokyo, Japan,
Okay.
which was basically a song I wrote when I was like, that's actually the day that I started smoking weed. And it was 4 years ago. I missed my daughter. And actually the main thing that made me want to write the song was that I had a right-hand man with me at the time, a person who was riding around with me, making sure nobody messed with me, you know, uh, also was talented at writing as well. Um, and after spending time with me, they felt like I owed them money just for them spending time.
Mm.
And like, it was never like they were hired or I asked them to do it. It was just something they decided to do. And they felt like they had an incentive. And they started trying to extort me, basically. And
No, that's no good.
short. So it's like you met fire with fire, but I didn't want to take it to any level that was going to end up getting me in some kind of trouble. I was like,
Yeah.
clearly the person doesn't really get how to end. They said, since I was hanging around you when you made that song, I own half because I was around them.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, you don't get it.
Okay.
And they were a little sick at the time. And that really just threw me off. I was like, why is everybody around me changing? Like, they
Mm.
want money from me, and then as soon as I say no, I'm public enemy number one. I'm getting this from friends, family. Who's my real friend? Who's my real friend and family? I want to just leave, you know? And then,
Kevin, I hate to cut you off, but we
yeah,
are getting close to that time to wrapping up. We the I can't go over as much as I would love to keep
let's start.
talking. But I definitely want you to tell us really quickly what you may be needing and how people can stay in touch with you and follow you as you continue this amazing journey in your career and life.
Well, thank you. I'm really trying to focus on this campaign. I want to get a law passed. So I'm learning how to get everyone rallied together to get a law passed that helps fathers and mothers parental alienation is something that I really want to tackle. There's a lot of people who don't get to see their kids, and I believe building up the family is how we're going to make this world great again.
Amen. So, and tell everyone what your Instagram and where they can follow you at.
Child, I don't even know. No, I'm just kidding. Follow me on Instagram at Kevin McCall _official. And I do follow back. Website coming soon. If you just stay tuned on Instagram, and I'll have everything else. We're revamping everything. It's returning a new leaf, and you can take the therapy for that.
Well, and I love therapy. I'm definitely a person that is totally for mental health. Kevin, thank you. I want to thank you just for your time and your presence and just the words that you shared with us. You guys definitely make sure you follow and support this man. You can follow him. And if you maybe have something you want to send them, reach out. He says he does follow back. But again, guys, thank you, Kevin. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. My name is Jamecia Stoudemire, and you just finished watching the Entertainment Buzz on Florida National News. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We have several shows going on for the rest of the day. The Evening Rundown, Florida National News Sports Talk with Casey. So make sure you guys stay tuned and follow us on all of our platforms. And of course, follow me, Jamecia Stoudemire, at THE_ENT_MOGUL. Thank you all and have an amazing Friday.